The Formula One world has once again been rocked by big news. In the midst of the heat of this season's competition, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff made a surprising statement aimed directly at Lewis Hamilton. The statement surprised not only the public, but also Ferrari. The atmosphere in the paddock has suddenly heated up and speculations are coming from all corners. Is Toto Wolff's statement a sign of a hidden conflict, or does it reveal a big secret before Hamilton's move to Ferrari? Let's discuss it. Maranello is no place for the weak. Ferrari's history is filled with extraordinary glory, but also the tragedy of ambition and internal pressure that has crushed many legends. But now a new chapter is about to begin. And at the center of it all is one name, Lewis Hamilton. In the midst of doubt, criticism and media noise, Toto Wolff stands tall. In his silence, there is an unshakable faith. He is not just defending Hamilton as his former protégé. He knows who Lewis really is. For Wolff, the move is not the end of the story, but the beginning of something that could shake up F1 history. Toto Wolff opened his statement with an almost poetic line, "Lewis never cracks. He counts." A phrase loaded with meaning, because few people in the world have ever seen Lewis Hamilton at his rawest and purest. Wolff has been at Hamilton's side through every crisis and triumph, witnessing firsthand how a driver navigates not only rivals on the track, but political storms, social pressures, and the relentless weight of expectation. To the outside world, Hamilton may appear to be fading. But in Toto's eyes, this is when Hamilton is at his most dangerous, when people start to take him for granted. Ferrari may have bought a driver, but they also bought the remnants of anger, determination, and unhealed wounds. Lewis came not as a retired legend looking to relax, but as a warrior still fighting. We go back to 2013, when the world mocked Hamilton's move from McLaren to Mercedes. A decision that was considered crazy. Mercedes were not the giants they are today. They were a mid-table team with big ambitions and an untested reputation. But Toto saw something. He saw potential in a hungry young driver. He saw character. And that is where the modern Formula One fairy tale began. Over the course of a decade, Hamilton and Wolff formed an alliance that was more than just boss and driver. They built a dynasty. 6 world titles, 82 victories, record after record, and a team philosophy that made them virtually unbeatable. They fought together, cried together, laughed together on the podium, and battled unseen forces, from FIA politics to media pressure to racist comments off the track. And when the era finally came to an end, there was no hatred. Just pride and a bittersweet goodbye. Ferrari, on the other hand, was the perfect opposite of Mercedes. If Mercedes was the cold, clinical, calculating machine, then Ferrari was the hot blood that ran through the veins of racing. Emotional, legendary, full of passion and color, but often teetering on the brink of chaos. This is where Lewis Hamilton decided to land. A decision that not only shocked the world, but also defied logic. Ferrari is no ordinary team. It is an institution. A racing icon with a heritage that spans decades, with great names having sat in its cockpit: Schumacher, Lauda, Prost, Villeneuve. But behind all the glory, Ferrari also has a dark side, the last 17 years without a world title. Not for lack of talent, but because it has too often lost its way at the most crucial moments. In the last corner. In the final seconds. Toto Wolff knows this. He knows that Ferrari is a minefield. A place where expectations are sky high, but the inner stability is often as fragile as glass. But that is exactly why he believes. Not with cynicism, but with deep conviction. He could be a star at Ferrari, says Toto. And this is not just diplomatic lip service. It is a confession. Ferrari is no place for mediocrity. This team can lift its drivers to the heavens, give them legendary status, unite them with the gods of Formula One history. But with such power comes great danger, relentless pressure, a bloodthirsty media, and an insatiable fan base. Ferrari can mentally destroy a person in one season. Even less. But none of that is a threat to Hamilton. It is a magnet. It is the challenge that brings him to life. He is not the kind of driver who runs away from a storm. He goes into it. Not to survive, but to ride the storm. Hamilton's move to Ferrari is not the end of his career. It is the final, most audacious chapter. Not to win, but to make history. Because if he succeeds in bringing Ferrari back to the top, he will not only be remembered as a world champion. He will be remembered as a true legend. Wolff admits the distinction is not easy. Hamilton is not just a driver to him. He is a comrade, a partner who has weathered every storm inside and outside the paddock. In his silence, Toto carries this pain. But also relief. Because in letting Hamilton go, he is also letting go of someone who deserves the freedom to choose his final battle. Toto knows that Ferrari may not be a good fit for Hamilton. There is no bond, no chemistry. But his support continues because he knows that the real Hamilton does not need a perfect environment to be great. He creates his own greatness. The 2025 season was not an easy start for Lewis Hamilton. No podiums, no celebrations. Just silence, frustration, and the scornful looks of the world. The media began to curse mercilessly. He's over. Too old. Ferrari made a mistake signing him. The headlines filled the front pages, as if to bury the champion's career before it could rise again. But Toto Wolff remained silent. He was not tempted to answer with words, because what was imprinted in his mind was much stronger: memories. He remembered Brazil 2021, a magical weekend that is now almost legendary. When Hamilton started from the back of the grid and swept through the field like a demon in one of the greatest performances Formula One has ever seen. Toto remembered Bahrain, when Hamilton held off Verstappen on worn tires, still winning, still unwavering. He remembered Silverstone, the Hungaroring, Istanbul. Circuits where the limits of human ability seemed beyond Hamilton. Toto did not see an aging and fading driver. He saw a legend waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the right battlefield to unleash all the anger, determination, and greatness that still burns inside him. Off the track, Hamilton is a symbol. He has used his platform to speak out for justice, diversity, and change. At Ferrari, a conservative, historic, and traditional team, Hamilton would be a culture shock. Toto believes it is not just his driving style that will shake up Ferrari, but his moral standards, work ethic, and leadership. If Lewis can win with Ferrari, he will not just add titles. He will beat history. Michael Schumacher once took Ferrari from obscurity to glory. If Hamilton can repeat that history, he will not just match Schumacher. He can surpass him. But Toto is also realistic. What if his car never goes fast enough? What if Ferrari's internal politics hold him back? What if Leclerc becomes the team's darling and Hamilton is just a marketing symbol? Toto replies, so what? Because for Wolff, greatness is not just about numbers. It's about determination, courage, and honesty. At the end of his interview, Toto did not speak as a manager. He spoke as a person who knows other people. Hamilton is still that guy. He still has the magic. And that was his final challenge to Ferrari: you have the best. Treat him like one. Wolff's support went beyond the team colors. From silver to red. From Brackley to Maranello. Because his belief in Hamilton was something that no livery, team logo, or contractual rivalry could silence. The question now is not whether Lewis is ready for Ferrari, but whether Ferrari is ready for the magic. Or will they once again become a tragic stage, a place where the greatest hopes come, only to be crushed once more by the weight of their own history? Leave your thoughts below.